Harvard University is suing the Trump administration. The university has filed a federal suit in the escalating battle with Trump over funding. Tyrone Bowman live. According to the Wall Street Journal, Harvard University filed a federal lawsuit against the Trump administration Monday, arguing it has violated the university's constitutional rights by freezing billions of dollars in federal funding and imperiling its academic independence. The suit sets up a legal showdown between America's most prominent university and the United States president, who has been on an escalating campaign to reorder elite higher education. Quote, the consequences of the government's overreach will be severe and long-lasting, Harvard President Alan Gerber said in a community message announcing the lawsuit. Research at risk by the funding cuts, Gerber said, includes work on child cancer, infectious diseases, outbreaks, and easing the pain of soldiers wounded in battle. Harvard argues in the suit that the federal government has cut off funds as part of its pressure campaign to force the university to submit to the government's control over its academic programs. It just gets worse and worse. The government's actions float the First Amendment by seeking to control whatever university faculty may teach and whom the school may hire, Harvard says. It also argues that the federal government is disregarding laws and regulations around how to pursue civil rights investigations. The suit asked the court to halt the funding freeze and declare as illegal both the freeze and the demands asked of the university. In recent weeks, a new government task force has shaken top American universities, pausing or funding billions of dollars in federal grants and contracts at premier institutions such as Columbia and Harvard, and putting many schools on high alert. The task force says it is targeting schools that failed to adequately protect Jewish students during pro-Palestinian protests that disrupted campuses last year. It is also seeking to push Harvard to incorporate a broader diversity of ideas on its campus. To me, it seems like this is an undercover code of an anti-blackness campaign. And of course, it's all coming under the guise of protecting the rights of Jewish people throughout the nation. Well, the Constitution of the United States guarantees the rights of all citizens of the nation. And you all, ladies and gentlemen, you have to pay attention to what is written and how it's being written. The task force says it is targeting schools that failed to adequately protect Jewish students during pro-Palestinian protests that disrupted campuses last year. In the suit, Harvard argues the government may not interfere with private actors' speech to advance its own vision of ideological balance. Critics of the task force, including Harvard's president, have said anti-Semitism is being used as a cudgel to give the Trump administration more control of universities. Harvard is the first university to sue the administration over actions by Trump's anti-Semitism task force, though faculty groups at Harvard and Columbia have filed lawsuits accusing the administration of exploiting civil rights laws to undermine academic freedom and free speech. The confrontation with Harvard began in late March after the government said it was reviewing nearly $9 billion in federal funding that the school had asked to take certain actions, quote, necessary for Harvard University's continued financing relationships with the United States government, close quote, meaning you'll say what we want you to say and you'll do what we want you to do, and you will throw out every black student you can find and anybody else that we want out of that university in order for you to receive the money. Now, that is the street talk version of all this academic jargon that's being said. I'm just going to break it down in everyday terms. The task force believed Harvard would concede, just as Columbia had, according to someone familiar with the negotiations. But when Harvard got a list of demands from the task force in an April 11 letter, the university was shocked. The list included requirements that Harvard allow federal government oversight of admissions, hiring, and the ideology of students and staff. The school rejected the administration's proposal and struck a defiant tone. Pardon me while I straighten this out. I had no idea this is going to happen. Give me a moment here. You know what? Let's go for it. It is what it is. The clash quickly escalated. The Trump administration said it would freeze more than $2 billion in multi-year grants and contracts. It has also threatened the school's tax-exempt status and ability to enroll foreign students and launched a probe into its foreign funding. The 50-page lawsuit makes the case for why the federal government should continue to partner with universities on scientific research, a collaboration that dates back to World War II. Quote, millions of Americans are healthier and safer as a result of such partnerships, and they have had to significant breakthroughs at Harvard, such as developing drugs to battle Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and supporting astronauts in space, the lawsuit says. Harvard argues that the administration has taken an improper shortcut in the usual process for handling anti-Semitism concerns under Title IV of the Civil Rights Act, freeze funding, a typically rare outcome before doing a full investigation. The government also can't identify any rational connection between anti-Semitism concerns and the research it has frozen, the university says. Harvard acknowledges in the suit that tensions on campuses rose to dangerous levels over the Hamas-Israel war. Members of the Jewish and Israeli communities at Harvard reported treatment that was vicious and reprehensible, Harvard lawyers wrote. In response, the university said it has changed policies to improve campus safety, enacted discipline, and enhanced programs designed to address bias and promote ideological diversity and civil discourse. Some on campus have said Harvard leaders haven't gone far enough to curtail anti-Semitic behavior. As I'm reading this article as published by the Wall Street Journal, it's somewhat slanted in nature, and I'll tell you the reason why. In America and around the world, everybody's rights are important. There shouldn't be any anti-Semitism going on. There shouldn't be any anti-Mexican or Latinoism going on. There shouldn't be any anti-Blackness going on. Everybody has to learn to agree and disagree in a civil manner. The politics of polarization are pathetic. Either you do it what we say and you do it the way we want it. There's a dictatorship going on in this nation. And people are sitting back saying, this is what we voted for. You didn't vote for this. And you know you didn't. Remember, it was about the economy. It was about the price of eggs. It was about the price of bacon. It was about, quote unquote, they're taking your jobs. And you know what's going to end up happening? When it finally hits home, to a lot of you all that did this, then you're going to want people to come to your rescue, and they're not coming. So in closing, the lawsuit names as defendants agencies and cabinet members from across the Trump administration, including the Department of Justice, Health and Human Services, Education, Energy and Defense, and the General Services Administration. Officials from several of those agencies sit on the Anti-Semitism Task Force. Tyrone Bowman, never surrender, never quit.